What's your name, man?
My name's Jake.
You said you're a radio host?
I'm a radio host and a podcaster at Jake the Adventurer 215 on Instagram. I'm trying to spread a really positive message.
What's your positive message?
Mental health, recovery, addiction, helping the little voices put their voice out there. You know, that's people that are struggling with drug abuse or recovery or anything like that. Hit me up. I'll chat to you, man. Like, I'll help you get your story out, and really, that's what the platform's all about. I'm just trying to build it from the ground up, you know?
That's awesome. I'm actually really glad to hear that, and people should check that out, absolutely. But you said mental health?
Yeah.
I'm here for the mental and physical health of these animals.
Yeah.
Now, I want to understand, I'm guessing you're not vegan?
I am not vegan. I've tried it and I ended up actually very sick, so...
All right, we'll get onto the sick part, but you tried it. I would like to know why you tried it, but I just want to understand, because you're for the mental health and obviously physical health of other humans.
Yeah, of course.
I'm for the physical and mental health of all sentient beings.
Yeah, no, I do get that.
You get that?
I do get that.
Yeah, so you did once go vegan.
Yes.
What was the reason for that?
The reason for that was my situation, man. I was pretty broke, so I could really only afford like tins of chickpeas and stuff like that, you know, to be able to survive. Like sleeping on these streets and shit, man, it's not easy.
So you went plant-based?
I went plant-based because that's the only option I had.
I just will correct you for the sake of the audience.
Yeah, of course.
It sounds like you didn't ever go vegan.
I did go vegan, and I lasted about 2 weeks, and I felt a lot of stuff come through. I was actually pretty sick in the stomach. I was very, very tired and drained, so that just says a lot about being vegan, and you know, that's my comment on that.
The reason I said you weren't vegan is because you did it for financial reasons. So veganism is a ethical stance and
a cult.
And a cult, okay.
Yeah.
Not that part. You're actually leaving a cult. So it's not a personal reason, and you did it for a personal reason, financial reason. So that is going plant-based. It's not called going vegan.
Yeah.
So you never did go vegan. I just want to make that clear, because when you said I went sick as a vegan...
I went plant-based, all right.
Yeah.
I went plant-based.
Yeah, and when you said you got sick...
For the sake of the content, I went plant-based. All right, cool.
Not for that, just for factual reasons.
Yeah.
But when you said you got sick as a vegan, that's why I wanted to make it clear, because you didn't get sick as a vegan. You got sick because you were struggling, and you probably weren't eating enough. Now, plants are higher in volume, and you probably weren't getting enough calories, and therefore you were probably feeling absolutely shit, and I can understand why.
Yeah, fully.
So will you just clarify that you didn't get sick because you went vegan, it's because you weren't eating enough nutrition?
Well, yeah, I guess for the content, yeah, but still, you know, I was seeing all this propaganda they share and stuff. I was seeing that, and that sort of sparked an interest as well. But like I said, you know, Jack and Tashi, they ain't never been through shit apart from all these court proceedings. Shout out John Mountain at fucking fire, yeah. But yeah. So the goal is that I tried it, didn't like it, got over it, didn't need to feel the need to go out in the streets and tell people, hey, go plant-based, you know, you're going to be really healthy and whatnot.
Multiple things there. So we've already clarified that you went plant-based, you're struggling financially.
Yeah,
I don't like hearing that, but you obviously weren't eating enough food. It's got nothing to do with veganism. It's got nothing to do with being against the exploitation of animals.
I will
it's got
to disagree there.
well,
I will agree to
okay. It is just a fact. It's because you can be completely healthy as a vegan. You just got to eat enough food, as with all diets.
Yeah, of course.
Of course. And then you called this,
vegan?
yeah.
Oh, cute.
And you said propaganda here. We're out here spreading propaganda. What do you mean by that, man? I'm literally out here showing what happens inside of slaughterhouses, what people pay for.
Yeah.
It's called transparency.
No, I do get what you mean, and you've got the whole set yourself free with the Watch Dominion when...
Not set yourself free, set animals free.
Yeah, well, set animals free, set yourself free, whatever. It's trying to set people free and turn them vegan. You're never going to become set free from being vegan. There's only one way you can be set free. If you know, there's only one way you can be set free.
It's got nothing to do with setting humans free. It's got everything to do with not exploiting animals and setting them free.
But the thing is,
It sounds like you just don't understand veganism, bro.
no, I don't as a whole. It's a cult. But anyway,
You
can I
obviously
ask
don't
a
understand
question?
it if you think it's a cult.
But yeah, can I ask a question about it? So, I mean, I know you'd never do it because you're pretty much a pussy and stuff, and you'd probably never have a hard day's work in your life and, you know, make an impact on people and stuff. But if you were a farmer and that was, you know, I know farmers that have been farming since they were knee high to a grasshopper, you know? That's all they know. If you were a farmer trying to put food on your family's plate and that was your only means of work, would you quit your job because you're murdering animals to be able to provide for your families, to be able to pay your house off, or, you know, put food in your children's mouth, or get your kid into that really good uni or whatever? Would you throw it all away just to be a vegan, you know, and just say, oh, you know, maybe I won't go and sell these sheep today to keep a roof over my head. Maybe I'll just go homeless and live out on these streets of Perth, you know?
Yeah, I wouldn't exploit and murder animals. I would just get a different job. Now, you do realize that there are plant-based farmers. In fact, most food produced in the world is plant-based.
That is the thing about, you know, plant-based farming as well. You guys think you're doing no damage, but it actually does a whole lot of damage before you do take the mic and cut in again. Literally, it takes, 4 or 5 litres of water to make 1 litre of almond milk, if I'm correct, if I've got the maths correct and stuff.
It takes double that to produce cow's milk.
Yeah, and anyway, getting back to that, there's things like Beyond Meat and all these crappy tasting, shitty vegan substitutes. What do you mean substitutes? You don't want to eat meat, but you'll eat a fake version of meat.
We don't want to pay for murder.
Yeah, well, you don't want to pay for murder, but you're still vegan meat is shit, Tasha, you hot. But you know, you don't want to pay for actual meat, but you're happy to go out and buy a fake chicken schnitzel because you miss the feeling of meat. Like, bro, just have some meat. It's okay.
Don't miss the feeling of meat. I like the texture and I like the flavor, and you can get all of that without exploiting and abusing and murdering somebody. Would you eat human meat, mate?
Would I eat human meat?
Because you're all for human mental health, which I respect, but I'm just going to assume you wouldn't go and abuse and exploit another human, would you? Or would you contradict yourself there?
Well, if the rapture came and it was a life or death situation, or I was, you know, stuck in the middle of nowhere, or, man, I've done some shit to feed myself, man. So yeah, I probably would if it was survival. Yeah, 100%.
So if you had like no other choice, you would?
No other option, I would, like, yeah, I'd do it. I would do it, you know, let's say the rapture came tomorrow, or an apocalypse, or whatever you choose to believe in, came tomorrow, and, you know, there's 2 humans left on Earth, all the shops are gone, what else can you do, man? You got to eat that human to survive.
Okay, so what you're saying is in this dire situation where you really have no choice and it's a life or death thing, potentially then you would consider doing that. But really, we're talking about a situation where it's likely not going to happen, or if it did happen, it's a very, very horrible situation.
It is coming. It is coming.
Okay, like, you could say it's coming. Okay, but right now, would you murder and consume a human?
Not right now.
No, why would you not?
Because I love my fellow human beings. Obviously, that's what I'm doing with the potty, trying to spread awareness and actually make an impact instead of going out in the street and telling people go vegan.
Yeah, and what is it about humans that makes you care about them?
The struggle, man.
Just the struggle.
Well, obviously you guys have never been through a struggle, or probably had to sleep on
Let's look at this struggle.
Let's look at that struggle.
Is that struggle to you?
I don't think it is.
Okay, so when you see an animal, like a pig in a gas chamber, literally thrashing for their life, or this pig getting a knife in the throat and thrashing for their life, that's not struggle to you?
Because at the end of the day, you know, it took 7 days and 7 nights, all the animals and stuff were put on Earth and whatnot.
So that's not struggle?
Well, a cow, like our friend here, or a pig, I'm pretty sure they know what they're born for, right? We as humans are the only people that don't know what we're born for. We wander around working aimless and pointless jobs, you know, and stuff like that. Whereas a cow, he's like, oh, cool, I'm born, I'm going to die in a couple of weeks, and that's all good.
You really think a cow is thinking that?
Yes, he's going through yeah, of course, man. Like, they know what they're being born, either their wool or their flesh or their milk or whatever.
So when human slavery existed, they knew what they were, they knew that they were being exploited too.
Yeah.
Does that make it okay?
Yeah, well, that's humans, isn't it? humans weren't born to
They were.
this, you know?
Yeah, once upon a time, and still existing today in certain parts of the world, humans are born to become slaves in certain periods of time and certain locations still today. Does that justify it?
Does that justify slavery? I'd say no.
That's your logic.
Well,
You just said because they're born for it, it's okay. Now when I apply it in the human context, they're born for it, and now you say, well, no, that's not okay. That's a contradiction.
it's not really a contradiction because we're not born for like. Can you imagine being born and being like, oh yeah, boy, I'm gonna be a steak tomorrow, yeah. But you know, it's Delulu, man. And just to finish, because I actually have a job where I make an impact and stuff, and I'm heading to work. I'm not going to do it now because, like I said, I don't have much time. I'm about to bounce. But from the bottom of my heart, Jack and Tash, I hope the enemy loses his grip very, very soon. And I hope you guys find the light, read your Bible, say some prayers. Catch you later, brother.
There's no light in a slaughterhouse that you pay for animals to go in. He sounds like an absolute cockhead.